All right, today we're diving into a story that, well, it's one of those that really sticks with you. Back in 1959, deep in the Ural Mountains, 9 expert hikers did something that makes no sense. They sliced their tent open from the inside and ran out into a minus 30-degree night, some of them not even wearing shoes. They were never seen alive again, and what was found at their final campsite defies all logic, creating one of the most chilling, unsolved mysteries of the 20th century.
So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? What on earth could make 9 people who know the wilderness, who are total pros, abandon their only chance of survival and just bolt into a frozen nightmare? It seems completely insane because, well, it is. Something went horribly, horribly wrong.
I mean, just try to put yourself in that situation for a second. It is unbelievably cold, a brutal wind is howling, and in the middle of all that, you burst out of your only shelter, fleeing into the pitch black without even stopping to put on your boots. Whatever they were running from had to be more terrifying than the certainty of freezing to death. Just think about that.
Okay, so to even begin to get our heads around this, we've got to go back to the start. We need to look at who these people were and what exactly they were doing out there in the first place.
So, the expedition was led by a guy named Igor Dyatlov. And let me be really clear about this. This was not a group of amateurs. These were all seasoned mountaineers, students at a top technical university. They absolutely knew how to handle themselves in extreme conditions. Their goal was tough, sure, to get to Mount Otorten in the dead of winter, but it was something they were totally prepared for.
Now, if you look at the timeline, you see this huge, ominous gap. They make their last camp around February 1st, but no one finds their abandoned tent until the 26th, almost a month later. And even then, the full, horrifying picture wouldn't emerge until May, when the spring thaw finally gave up the last of the bodies.
And here it is, the first big clue, and it's an absolute game changer. When the search party gets to the campsite, they find the tent, and it's been slashed open, but from the inside. This wasn't something trying to get in. This was them, desperately trying to get out.
And the evidence around the camp just makes it all the more confusing. You have these footprints showing a chaotic, panicked escape. But that's it. There are no other footprints, no signs of a struggle, no evidence that anyone else was ever there. It's like they were running from something they couldn't see.
So the search party starts to follow those haunting tracks into the snow. And let me tell you, what they found next is what takes this from a strange mystery to an absolute horror story.
So, they find the first 5 bodies, and they're scattered a good kilometer away from the tent. 2 are found under a big cedar tree right next to the sad remains of a fire they tried to build. The other 3 were found in the space between the tree and the tent, almost as if they were desperately trying to make it back. At first, you could almost write this off as a horrible accident, right? The coroner looks at them and says they all died of hypothermia. Okay, so they panicked, they ran, they got lost, and they froze. It's tragic, but it seems to make sense. But oh, man, that was not the whole story. Not even close.
Because then May rolls around and the snow starts to melt. And that's when they find the last 4 hikers buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine. And what they discovered with these 4 bodies, well, this is what blows the whole case wide open and turns it into the legend that it is today. Okay, get ready for this, because it gets bizarre. These 4 had suffered catastrophic internal injuries. We're talking crushed ribs, fractured skulls. But here's the kicker. With no external wounds. None! One of the women, Lyudmila Dubina, was found missing her tongue and eyes. And if that's not weird enough, some of their clothes were radioactive. Radioactive! And their skin had this strange, deep orange tan color. What is going on?
The medical examiner's report is just mind-bending. It literally says the force that hit them was comparable to a car crash. So how does that happen? How do you get hit with that kind of force in the middle of the wilderness with absolutely no bruises, no cuts, no signs of impact on your skin? It seems physically impossible.
So you can imagine the Soviet investigators were completely stumped. The facts just didn't add up. So, faced with the unexplainable, they closed the case. And their official conclusion? Get this, the hikers died from an unknown compelling force. I mean, that is just about the most chillingly vague explanation you could possibly come up with.
So, let's fast forward all the way to 2020. Russian authorities decide to reopen the case, probably to put all the wild speculation to rest. Their new official explanation is a slab avalanche. Basically, a big block of snow slid down, hit the tent, and forced them to cut their way out in a panic.
But a lot of people just aren't buying it. The avalanche theory leaves way too many questions. Why would it cause those specific, crushing injuries to only 4 of them? What about the radiation? That doesn't fit at all. And any experienced mountaineer will tell you, if you're fleeing an avalanche, you run to the side, not straight downhill into its path for over a kilometer. It just doesn't add up.
And because there's no satisfying official answer, the Dyatlov Pass incident has become this breeding ground for theories. Everything you can imagine, from the scientific to the completely out there. It's the ultimate unsolved puzzle, and everyone wants a crack at it.
But you see, here's the real issue. Every single major theory explains one little piece of the puzzle, but then completely ignores another. A secret military test? Okay, that could explain the radiation and the concussive injuries, but there is zero evidence one ever happened. What about infrasound, a low-frequency hum from the wind that can cause irrational panic? It might explain why they ran, but it definitely can't crush a human skull. It's like having a bunch of keys, but every key only fits one lock.
So naturally, people's minds go to more extraordinary places. An attack by the local Mansi tribe? Investigators ruled that out right away. There was no evidence. An animal attack? Same thing, no tracks. But the UFO theories, those have persisted, especially because there were other reports of strange orange lights in the sky over the mountains on that very same night.
And so here we are, decades and decades later, and we're no closer to a real answer. We're right back at square one, staring at the same fundamental, terrifying question. What in the world happened on that mountain slope?
In the end, the pass was named after the group's leader, Igor Dyatlov. And maybe some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. Maybe they're just supposed to remain, a chilling monument to 9 lives lost, and a stark reminder that there are things in the vast, terrifying unknown that we may simply never understand.